this photograph. Yeah! Troy and I bed in the morning. Welcome back.
Which one am I? Oh. Yeah, welcome back, viewers.
Yeah.
And our new subscribers. I think there's 2.
We've had a couple more. Welcome back.
Yeah.
If you would like to join the family of...
Troy and Abed, apparently.
Then, yeah, go ahead. Click that subscribe button that's somewhere in one of those directions. And then see you on the next one as well.
Yeah, or click smoke if you want to smoke.
Yep, that'll be there. The smoke. What's new with you? Music.
Very little, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just been listening to this album that we're reviewing this week. But otherwise, extracurricular activities have took up my time. And by
It's not
that I
like
mean
you.
studying.
Take a walk on the wild side.
How about you?
A few more albums that have popped up that have been really good. The Byrds. Have you heard much of The Byrds?
I've heard a few songs. I've not heard albums by them.
Yeah, I think it's the first album by them, Mr. Tambourine Man, which was mostly Bob Dylan covers apparently.
Yeah.
However, they were all new to me because I didn't recognise most of the songs on it.
I think Bob Dylan said that he prefers their version of that song.
Right. That was really, really good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Jasmine showed me your Instagram the other day.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I don't have it. And you had your 10 best albums of the year or something. And Blackpink was there.
Yeah. Like, I was looking back, because bear in mind, it's albums that I've listened to that have been released this year. Most albums I've listened to this year have been ones from like the 70s and stuff.
Right, okay.
So then it was thinking back to like, okay, out of all the albums I've listened to, what's actually been released this year? And I did enjoy the Blackpink album, so that's why it ended up on there. That came about because from my Instagram, I had a message from On Sounds magazine saying that they're inviting some like music reviewers from Instagram to collaborate to basically vote for their favourite albums of the year, and it's all being collated into a definitive version.
Nice.
So they messaged me and I was like, that's pretty swell.
So is that an online thing? Or?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to have a look.
That was a pretty cool feeling. I was telling Rach as well, and she was saying, like, that's pretty neat, isn't
So
it?
you're best Langs now?
I am, yeah. I am the music critic.
Yeah, no need to go into that any further.
Yeah, no explanation needed, I'm sure. You all know the backstory of Best of Langs. Bringing us to the album we'll listen to this week.
Mm-hmm.
We said it was called Keep Rollin'. It's not called that. It's called Get Rollin'.
Yeah, still by Nickelback though.
Still by Nickelback. We got that part right.
Mm-hmm.
What was your preconceptions? Because obviously Nickelback is quite a controversial, either loved or hated band, aren't they, by
For
the
some
mass
reason,
population?
yeah.
Like, so what's your... Knowing there's a Nickelback album coming out, are you hyped for it? Are you indifferent? Are you, oh God, what are they doing that for?
Well, a few years ago, I would have been hyped. Like, when the albums All the Right Reasons and Dark Horse, I love those albums. So after All the Right Reasons came out and I knew Dark Horse and it was going to be produced by Mutt Lange, who'd done, like, AC/DC and things, I thought this is going to be amazing. But then after that, I've kind of lost track because I think the album after that, Here and Now, I think it's called, first song, I thought it just didn't really grab me. So I've missed the last 3 albums of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what to expect kind of from a Nickelback album, and it's generally pretty good. Like, I like them. I don't understand how there's so... I don't even understand why there's a debate about them. It's like, yeah, they write good pop songs. Taylor Swift.
I really liked the first few albums that I listened to. How You Remind Me is a banger of a song.
Yeah.
I'll not have it from anyone. But like, if people say, oh, I don't like Nickelback, I don't like any of the songs.
It's super popular for a reason.
Yeah.
It got a band big for a reason because
Exactly.
it's a good song.
How You Remind Me absolutely slaps. I did know, I guess, probably the more bigger hits after that, like Photograph, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went into this album probably as neutral as can be because I've not heard anything from them for a long time. I think the last song that I heard by them, I couldn't tell you the name of it off the top of my head, but it was Disco. Like, they had...
Oh yeah, I knew they had like an EDM influence on one of their albums.
Yeah.
I think that's what kind of put me off.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, they're trying to modernise the sound. I don't mind that, but not with that.
Yeah, and that song, I did listen to it because I found a video on YouTube when it came out and I was like, what are they doing? It's not good as a rock song. It's awful as a disco song. There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I went in fairly neutral knowing that I liked some of the older stuff. I would call that disco one some of the newer stuff, but it's probably still like 8 years ago or something.
Yeah, I think it was 5 years ago,
Right.
our last album.
So Yeah, I went into it fairly neutral, I think. Album art for it, does it draw you in? Like a cartoon school bus.
It's kind of like it's a fun album.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at least it's got the album artist and the album title on it.
I don't know if maybe I was thinking about this because there's a lot of albums that there has been albums throughout the years anyway, like Screamadelica by Primal Scream was an album I listened to a few weeks ago, and that's got just the artwork, no band name, no title or anything. But more so recently there seems to be a lot of albums with that, and I wonder if that's because a lot of it's streaming these days rather than CDs. And if you're going on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, it'll have it written there anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
But you're right, yeah, it does have the artist name, album name. Looks like a traditional album cover, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I think pretty much what you said. It looks fun. It looks like road trip, maybe music.
Yeah.
Like music to drive to.
And that is what I've learned. It is a album to drive to.
Right. So, fair enough. Did you like everything on it? Was there any songs that you don't like? Or
I like most of it.
Did you?
The only song I didn't like was Does Heaven Know You're Missing? I thought that was a bit trite.
It's cringe.
Yeah. I thought, Nickelback, they have released some weird ballads in the time, but that's right up there with nearly unlistenable.
Yeah.
But even the song title, I just thought, there's too many words there for a start to be catchy. And then, it's just bad.
Yeah, I agree with that one. That one did nothing at all for me, and it was just when you hear those cringy pickup lines, isn't it? Like, oh, did your wings hurt when you fell from heaven? Like, is that as a song?
Did your face hurt when you fell from heaven?
Clearly, it mushed you up.
Maybe that's why I was single for ages, because I kept choosing that.
Maybe. Any other songs you didn't like, or was it just that one?
No, just that one, I think. How about you?
For me, I think it started off really strong. I liked San Quentin. The Skinny Little Missy one, I thought, I like the groove of that. I like the music. You smell because there's a fly buzzing around you.
No, it's a fragrance fly.
Skinny Little Missy, I liked the sound of it, but I didn't particularly like the whole song. I liked how the guitar sounded. There was a song, it might be track 3 or 4. Have you got the track list handy? And I thought that this song should have just been called Photograph Part 2. Those days. Yeah.
Well, that to me was they had a song called This Afternoon.
Yeah, I knew that one.
And Photograph, but it's pretty much. But I don't mind that because I love Photograph, so I didn't actually mind there being a part 2 of it. Yeah. And because I'm getting apparently into my middle ages now, anything that's like, oh yeah, I remember those kind of things, even though I don't remember those kind of things because the things he was talking about were in the 80s. I remember having those days. Yeah.
I had some days once that I would consider to be those.
I had a past at one point.
I didn't particularly like that one just because it felt like I've heard this song before. Even though I've not, it just felt too familiar. Which I think I found for, like I say, San Quentin was great. Skinny Little Missy was good in some ways. It dropped a bit for those days. Vegas Bomb I thought was a really good one. But then the rest of the album tended to be... If they would have said, oh, there's an unreleased album from 15 years ago that we were just deciding to release now, and it's this, it'd be like, yeah, because it sounds the same as all the other Nickelback albums. Yeah. I know you mentioned before, like, they went too different when they had the EDM influences, but for me, this wasn't different enough.
Like, there's parts of this that reminded me of the Dark Horse album, the one that's got, like, Something in Your Mouth on. Best title of a song ever. And then, like you said, there were some stuff that was, like, towards the earlier stuff, which, again, I love it. But, yeah, I can understand it's not very different. But AC/DC have made a career out of not being different. Yeah.
And obviously, they're still selling out stadiums and stuff, so they're obviously...
And I mean, I guess, to be fair, we can't blame them for sounding like themselves.
Maybe for people that hadn't heard Nickelback before, they can go into that and go, okay, this is a fun poppy rock sound. But for me, having heard a bunch of stuff by them, I got bored halfway through. Because, like I say, it's the same as all the other ones. I wouldn't say there's any songs I particularly... Oh, actually, Just Heaven Even Know You're Missing. Didn't like that one.
No, that's a bad song.
Those days... If I hadn't heard the other songs that were the exact same, I probably would have liked that. It was just, well, what's the point for me? Because I have heard them before. I was looking at why are Nickelback so hated. And one of the things that I found, which I did find quite funny, is they were saying, like, what is it with his vocals? Why is he singing so awful? I can't put my finger on it, but why is it? And some people were saying it's because he doubles over his vocals so much. It's always like 5 Chads screaming at you for each song, which, okay, I kind of get that. And another one which I do think that they've improved on for this one is there's no dynamics with the vocals. Like, there's no singing softly at the sad bits. And then, like, a prime example that they gave, which I found very funny because it is true, is for Photograph. It starts off with that nice little acoustic guitar, like, dring, dring, look at this photograph!
I like his voice.
I can get what they were saying by that. Like, it's not something that bothers me, because obviously I did like that song when it came out, but I can get what they're saying with it. There's no kind of, like, at the sad bits singing a bit softer. I guess when we did Joji last week and we were talking how he's a very softly spoken voice to show that he's sad, like, the sadder songs on these are still kind of, like, just shouting. Top 3 for me: San Quentin, Vegas Bomb, Standing in the Dark. That was a pretty cool one. That was basically just pop music with distorted guitars for Standing in the Dark.
Mine are High Time, Steel Still Rusts, and San Quentin.
Fair enough. I didn't like Steel Still Rusts.
You didn't?
No.
I thought that was a well good song.
Yeah. Each to their own. Putting a number on it, out of 10. 10 being it changed your life. 0 being chuck it in the bin.
I'd go with a 7.
Would you?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I did enjoy it, but like you say, I could listen to any other Nick. It's not the best album they've done.
Yeah.
So, and it does sound a lot like the other ones, but I don't mind that.
Yeah. For me, it was probably a 4 overall, because there were some good songs on it, but for me, most of it was kind of just the same. So kind of just tuned the rest of it out. And I probably won't be going back to the album. I definitely think if we were to just kind of base the reputation Nickelback's got solely from this album, then they wouldn't deserve the amount of stick that they get, because they're not awful by any means.
No,
but
I just don't understand it at all.
Yeah. So with me saying 4, it's not to say, oh my god, they're awful, because they're not. It's just some good songs, some less interesting. But if you've never heard Nickelback before, you might love this.
So what's that average out? 5.5?
5.5.
What's that?
Good. We're a positive show, and it's fine that most albums we listen to tend to be good. Bear in mind, we're doing new albums that are in the charts that week.
Yeah.
Evidence would suggest, on average, stuff that's in the charts is probably going to be good.
Yeah, maybe most people aren't idiots.
Maybe.
As I've gone the most of my life thinking.
So yeah, the album might not have changed your life, but this show that we're creating is, because it's making you realise you're not a nonconformist after all.
Are we done?
Yeah. Bye then.
Bye. I'll subscribe.
Oh yeah, do that as well.